Hi, welcome to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book trope recommendation video. Hey you guys, welcome back. And so as I indicated, this is going to be a trope recommendation video, and this trope is going to be controversial. I chose to select the love triangle trope. And the reason I chose it is, as is the case whenever you read a book where there is a significant trope in it, I thought, how can I fold this into my weekly wrap-ups? And so what I thought I would do is just develop a video around this and pick this trope where there's a love triangle. And so let me first start off by saying I am so sorry, because as is the case, they are doing construction right outside the window over there, and so we're gonna just have to deal with all that noise today. So I'll do the best that I can. So anyway, to get onto the video, and I know that this is a controversial topic because some hard lines in books for people are when books are about cheating. And each of these books involves cheating. But it's not cheating for the sake of cheating. It is cheating when the heart is involved, when people are really struggling to make a decision, when people are really torn between two people that they really care about. And they're not doing it because they want to be dishonest, but rather they just don't want to hurt each person that they care about. And as a result, they get stuck in this point or position of indifference and they do nothing. And doing nothing ultimately is hurtful because you're not being honest with yourself and you're not being honest with the people that care about you. As well as the fact that these books are highly, highly emotional because there's just so much angst when there's a hard decision. And I don't know if you guys have ever been faced with making a really hard choice, but it's not easy to do. But when you're honest with yourself and honest with the people that you care about, it might hurt in the beginning, but ultimately we think that it gets better. We'll see. So having said all of that, if this video is not for you, I totally get it. And if you want to hang out and see what books I have in store, then hang out with me. Okay, so the first book that I wanted to put on this list is A Clockwork Prince. And if you guys are not familiar with the world of the Shadow Hunters that Cassandra Clare has built, then you need to get on the train. This is an amazing world it's a shadow world that's parallel to our world, where you have a race of Nephilim, and the Nephilim are charged with protecting humans and the world from demons. And this particular series is the Infernal Devices series, and the Infernal Devices is the first generation, or it takes place in 1890 or in the 18 to 1900 early Victorian era of London. It's with the London Academy. The main players in this book are Will Herondale, James Carstairs, and Tessa Gray. And James Herondale and James Carstairs and Will Herondale have a very unique bond called a parabatai, and a parabatai is the closest relationship that you can have with another individual outside of a closest platonic relationship that you can have with somebody outside of a brother or a sibling. They are as close as it can ever be. And so that is what Jem and Will are. Tessa comes into this situation and she folds very nicely into their dynamic. It is the adventures that they have together, and Will is a very prickly and dark character, and Jem loves him no matter what, and he is very kind, compassionate, giving, loving, caring, but also is dealing with a terminal situation. And so their dynamic just gets sticky very, very quickly. And as the reader, we can see that both of these gentlemen are falling for Tessa. Tessa does not see it. It gets complicated. I have never had a book wrench my heart out the way that this book has. Cassandra Clare is notorious for writing a second book conflict where you just are like, what just happened? How did I get here? I was sobbing. I've just recently read this book again for the umpteenth time, and I cried just as much as I did the first time. I read it again because I was preparing for her Last Hours series, which is the children of the characters in this book, and It is no different with The Last Hours. The second book in The Last Hours just delivers a punch to the heart in the same way that a Clockwork Prince does, but not quite as impactful. These characters I absolutely adore and love with all of my heart, and rooted for every single one of them in so many ways, because I wanted it all to work out for both of them, for all three of them, because it needed to, because they all deserved it, because they're all good but broken in different ways and deserved an HEA. So if you haven't read this book, it is outstanding. It is amazing. It really does reach the crescendo, because Cassandra Clare is a really good writer. And not only is she a really good writer, but I like that at the beginning of every chapter, and I've sort of mentioned this before, but she will give like a little passage from Lord Byron. She will give a little passage for, you know, For Whom the Bell Tolled. Like she'll give young readers an introduction into Hasidic sayings, or a little passage from Khalid Gibran, or just things that young readers may not have, you know, access to, or may not think of wanting to hear from Tolstoy, or may not want to hear from, you know, The Triumph of Time, Algernon Charles Swinburne. Like, and so I think it's really nice that they get exposure to that classic poetry and literature in that way. So she is an amazing writer, and if you haven't read it, you should get to it. Okay, the next book that I want to talk about in this recommendation is a book that is near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love this series, and this is by SC Stephens. This is book 1 in the Thoughtless series. There are like 5 books in the series. You should read them all. I think this one is Thoughtless, and then it's Effortless, and then it's Reckless, and there are a number of books in the series. This is from the point of view of Kira. The second book is from Kellen's perspective. Right, so this one is from her perspective, Kira's perspective, then the second book is from Kellen's perspective, and then it goes on from there. And I think I absolutely adore the entire series. There's like 5 books in the series. Read them all if you haven't read them. And this is heart-wrenching because you feel Kira's plight. Kira is actually very immature, and that is part of the reason why she gets herself in this situation. But she's in a 2-year-long relationship with her boyfriend, Denny, and they have gone to the same university together. Denny's from Australia. She's from the US. They embark on a cross-country trip, and they're going to stay with Denny's really good. He came over for an abroad study program, and he meets Kellen Kyle. Kellen is in a band. He calls them because Denny gets a new job in an advertising agency and says, "Hey Kellen, can I stay with you, me and my girl?" Kellen is like, "Absolutely." So they go, they stay with Denny, and things happen. And it's a love triangle, and it's messy, and it's sticky, and it's heart-wrenching, and it's heartbreaking because you feel Kellen's situation, you feel Kira's situation, and you feel Denny. And it just breaks your heart in so many ways, because it's just, how can love hurt so much and be so painful, right? When you know that love is a beautiful thing and love is right, but when it's misdirected and things happen and go awry, it's just sticky and yucky and hard. And this is heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching. And you want to see them come through it. And you want, not only because you see the love between Denny and Kira, but you also see the love that Kellen Kyle has for Denny as his best friend, as the person who's only been there. And Kellen is a broken character, and he needs so much and so much love. And so I don't want to give too much away, but there's so much angst, there's so much in this book. It delivers in so many ways. It's so good that, you guys, if you haven't read this, and it's a rock star romance nonetheless, because they're all in a band, and all of the relationship between the bandmates, and the series just gets better and better as you go through all of them. I absolutely recommend it. They're 5 out of 5 star for me, for sure. This is really angsty and immature, and you might get stuck, but if you plow through it and then you get to the other books, you're going to see development that's going to happen and growth in that character arc. So stick with it. Don't give up. I'm telling you, it's worth the ride. Okay, and so the main reason that I did this video and wanted to do this book video is because of this book. And it's called Even If It Hurts, and it's by Marni, Mann. And let me just start off by saying, who the hell recommended this damn book to me? Because I don't remember. Because I want to know who recommended this book to me so I can talk to you and have a conversation. Because I was not expecting this. This broke me. It broke me. It broke me. And I love reading angsty books, and I love reading things that are pulling at your heartstrings. But I want to come out, and I've said this before on my cry-worthy books, I want to come out on the other side happy. And I want to come out on the other side with an HEA. And I want to come out on the other side like, whew, wow, we went through that. But it wrenched me, but we got it. We got there. This one is, whoo. Okay, so this is about 3 characters. It's about Oliver, Lance, and Chloe. Chloe is in, and this is a new adult because it starts off when they're in college, and then it proceeds after college. And it starts off with Chloe is talking to her best friend, and she is getting ready to embark on a semester-long trip where she studies in the UK, in London. And her best friend says to her, okay girl, like this is your chance, this is your opportunity. Open up, enjoy, party, have a good time, meet a guy. And guess what? Have sex. It's okay. Like you've waited long enough, you've held out, this is your chance. Go and do it. And she goes off to the UK, and the story embarks from there, and it is poignant, beautiful, powerful, and it hurts. It hurts. I'm telling you, like if you have to go into it prepared, and knowing that you're going to be upset, and knowing that it's going to be angsty, and it's going to be drama, and there is a love triangle, and you're just like, as you're reading it, you go, where's the triangle? When's it coming? I know it's coming. I know it's coming. And because you know that, you're sort of like on edge, and so that sort of adds to the dynamic of the story. This is a 5 out of 5 star for me. I know that people don't like, you know, like love triangles. People don't like, and I don't think in here that it's all about the love triangle for the sake of the love triangle. It's about loving 2 people so immensely and so powerfully, and not wanting to hurt anyone, just like in here, and not knowing what to do, and struggling with what the right thing to do is, and what you think is going to happen, it doesn't happen, and you just are like, how do we do this? How do we do this? Because I don't know. And neither do these characters. And this is still really close in my heart. It was just so hard. And it was very powerful, and it was beautiful, but at the same time you were just like, you felt it in so many ways for these characters because you wanted them to get there. And this is like, do you get through it? And are you okay? I don't know. Like, you gotta check it out. It's really good though. I'm telling you, it's really good. If you can get past the triangle piece of it and like learn from the story, it was worth it. Okay, and then the last book on the series in this review that I want to talk about is The Kiss Thief by L.J. Shen. And so this is a little bit different than the other stories. The Kiss Thief is about, it's a mafia romance in that this is a mafia princess. She's part of the outfit. She grows up, and she is like, in her whole life she has everything sort of laid out, and she knows who she's going to marry, and she knows what's going to happen, and things don't quite work out the way that she has intended. There is some revenge plot in here. There is some mafia dynamics intertwined with politics and what that all means, and love to hate. There's an age gap in here. There is, again, a love triangle. There's deceit, there's lies, there's deception. So whilst this is angsty and emotional, it's not the typical, like, as we talked about in these other books, like the, you know, new adult, like college-y kind of stuff. This brings in more of like real life adult type issues because the mafia is involved, the outfit, and what that means, and moving forward as a couple and trying to get past this revenge, and dealing with broken characters who are so angry that they can't see what they have in front of them, and so therefore they make a lot of mistakes as a result. But it's also about growth and development and longing and support, and, you know, fighting for what you want, and then forgiveness, and how do you forgive, and how do you move forward. So this brings a layer, and I thought that The Kiss Thief, for me, this is a 5 out of 5 star. I absolutely loved it. So having said that, that's not a lot of books, because this is a tricky trope, right? It's a tricky trope to do, because a lot of books do bring in a little bit of a component of, I'm reading another book by J.M. Darhauer where there was a little bit of a like love triangle, and that's not the central focus, whereas I'm going to say in these books, the dynamics between those 3 main characters are the central theme amongst other things, and these books handle it well for me. And these books also bring a level of like, let me step back and step out of this and figure out what I want and how do I get that. And what does that mean? And how do I not hurt somebody else? This is not about laziness or selfishness or dishonesty or lying. It's about, I don't know what to do and I don't know how to handle this. And we have often found ourselves in situations where you make the wrong choices or you make wrong decisions because you don't know how to make a better decision, or you struggle with how to make the better decision because you don't want to hurt the other person involved, and you ultimately wind up hurting somebody because of the choices that you made. So the very thing that you're trying to avoid is what you create. And so that's what these books are about. And so for me, they're well worth it. They're well worth the read. They're all 5 out of 5 stars. And like I said, I respect and get it. If that's a hard line for you, we all have our hard lines, right? That might be a hard line. It's not my hard line. But if that is, I totally get it, but it is what it is, right? So, having said that, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. And you know, I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video, guys. Bye!